BethWE of BethWE.com, and we're endeavoring to bring the 12 steps of wholeness to everyone. Today we're going to talk about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, humility. It's the spiritual principle behind step 7, so it's an important principle. They say that some degree of humility is behind every one of the 12 steps to wholeness. So let's see what you find out about it. Some people think humility is about humiliation or about meekness or timidity. That's not really what we're talking about today. When we're talking about humility, we're talking about a life that lacks pretense. We're talking about being comfortable in your own skin. Somebody who has great humility is someone who knows where they've been, where they are today, and where they could go. And that's what we're going to look at. Sometimes when working with the 12 steps, I use these two books. One is a book called Alcoholics Anonymous. This is the first place that the 12 steps were ever written. This little book is called The 12 Steps and the 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. You don't have to be an alcoholic to get these books. You can buy them at aa.org, and they're very inexpensive. The 12 steps can help everyone, whether you're suffering from a problem with alcohol or not. When I look at humility, we're going to start with some of the readings in this book. I'm going to flip, for those of you that have the book, to page 70. And I'm just going to read a couple of passages for you. It says, "Indeed, the attainment of greater humility is the foundation principle of each of AA's 12 steps. For without some degree of humility, no alcoholic can stay sober at all." This is pretty important information if you're struggling with alcoholism. But what if you're struggling with something else? Isn't this important? Because the attainment of humility is how you get over the crisis. If you're struggling with food addiction, if you're struggling with codependency, if you're struggling with just being someone who feels entitled all the time, whatever it is you're trying to overcome, the answer is in the 12 steps. And humility is one of the key components that will help you through it. When I look at humility, I want to talk to you today about some of the twisted relationships we have in our mind. Indeed, a lot of us confuse humility because we confuse identity with behavior. And that's where we're going to start today. I want to ask you a question. Are you a painter? Go ahead and answer. You might have said no. You might have said yes. So let me ask you this question. Have you ever painted? Have you ever painted a house? Have you ever painted a wall, a fence, a picture? If you have painted and you told me that you're not a painter, well, something's amiss. What makes you a painter? Is it the amount that you paint? Do you have to paint every day? Do you have to get paid to paint to be called a painter? Sounds like a simple question, but it's one I want you to inspect. I'm going to tell you something personal about myself. I'm a quitter. Ask anybody in my family, they'll tell you, I'm a quitter. I start projects and I don't finish them. I'm a quitter. It's a horrible character defect of mine. I quit when I should continue. Now, let's look at this. I've worked at the same job for 28 years. I've been actively working the 12 steps to wholeness for 25 years. So, am I really a quitter? What about you? What are you? Are you a failure? What did you do to fail? Is there nothing you do right? Is everything you touch a failure? Probably not. We give ourselves labels, and we think that we are what we do, but that's not the case. We are people. We are children of the higher power. We are connected to each other, to the world, and to our source. And yet when we're defining ourselves, we let what we do be the definition. I can tell you this, I'm a human being. I'm not a human been that. I have been a failure. I have been a quitter. I've been a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but I also do a lot of good. Why is it that I tend to remember the things I do wrong when I'm giving myself identity? I challenge you to look at yourself. If you are someone who suffers from grandiosity, you're probably thinking, well, I don't think I'm a failure. I don't think I have any of these qualities. So I want you to use humility on the other side. What do you do wrong? What do you do right? Get an accurate assessment of who you are if you want to deal with humility.